Welcome to today's episode of Heard and Seen Around. I am Rajesh Karipurath. This is my take on macroeconomic and geoeconomic data points which I find interesting. I hope you enjoy watching it as much as I enjoyed curating it. Cheers.
I went to a psychiatrist. He said, "You're crazy." I said, "I want a second opinion." He said, "Okay, you're ugly too." No matter how cynical you get, it is impossible to keep up. When all else fails, there's always delusion. I spent a lot of money on booze, birds, and fast cars. The rest I just squandered. George Best. If one morning I walked on top of the water across the Potomac River, the headline that afternoon would read, "President can't swim." Lyndon Johnson.
India has dropped from the fourth largest stock market to the seventh in just over a year, with market capitalization falling to $4.8 trillion, down 8.4% year to date. Meanwhile, South Korea is up 87.9% and Taiwan 57.7%, riding the global AI wave like they invented surfboards. But before writing India's obituary, remember, market cap rankings often tell you more about what's fashionable today than what's valuable tomorrow. Korea has chips, Taiwan has TSMC, and global capacity is chasing AI with the enthusiasm of a toddler chasing an ice cream truck. India's problem isn't that it's shrinking, it's that it doesn't currently own the market's favorite acronym. The FIFA World Cup has officially entered its economy pack era. 48 teams, 1,248 players, and a record 104 matches, up from just 64 games in the previous format. That's enough football to make even the most dedicated fans check their calendar twice. For the eventual champions, the road gets longer too. 8 matches instead of 7. More teams means more opportunities for underdogs, more TV revenue, and probably a few more heart attacks for managers. The tournament that started with 13 teams in 1930 now looks less like a cup and more like a month-long global festival. As Bill Shankly said, some people think football is a matter of life and death. I assure you, it's much more serious than that. If these numbers hold, SpaceX could raise $75 billion at a $1.8 trillion valuation, nearly double the size of Aramco's record IPO and larger than the GDP of most countries. What's remarkable isn't just the size, it's the industry. Previous mega listings were dominated by oil giants, banks, and state-owned champions. SpaceX is a rocket company. Apparently launching satellites wasn't ambitious enough. They've decided to launch their IPO record book too. At $1.8 trillion, SpaceX would be worth more than most global stock markets. Investors aren't buying today's earnings. They're buying a front row ticket to the future of space, communications, and defense. For a country that loves leapfrogging technologies, India's EV adoption is surprisingly stuck in first gear. In 2025, EVs accounted for just 4% of car sales, compared with 53% in China, 23% in Thailand, and 22% in Turkey. But this isn't really a story about consumers rejecting EVs. It's a story about economics. India's car market is heavily price sensitive, charging infrastructure is still catching up, and affordable EV options remain limited. The irony, India leads the world in many forms of electrification, but just not the four-wheeler kind. For now, the EV race resembles a marathon, while China is already near the finish line and India is still trying to tie its shoelaces. India's edible oil habit is becoming an expensive addiction. The country's cooking oil import bill has climbed to 1.7 trillion rupees in FY26, up 17% in a year, and is on track to cross 2 trillion rupees soon. What's striking is how fast consumption has grown. Indians consume less than 4 kilograms per person annually in 1980. Today is nearly 20 kilograms. Meanwhile, cooking oil prices have roughly tripled since 2010, with some varieties now costing over rupees 200 a litre. And nearly half our imports are palm oil, the cheapest calorie in town. Great for affordability, less great for public health. The challenge isn't just reducing imports, it's reducing dependence. 3 years ago, India's entire Nifty IT index was worth $377 billion, while Anthropic was valued at just $18.4 billion. Fast forward to 2026, Anthropic is reportedly worth $965 billion, almost 4 times the value of the entire Nifty IT basket at $253 billion. That's not a typo, it's a market putting an enormous price tag on one thing, future AI dominance. The contrast is striking. Traditional IT firms are being valued on billable hours, margins, and contracts. AI firms are being valued on the possibility that they become the operating system for the global economy. Whether that's visionary or exuberant will only be obvious in hindsight.